Good morning, everyone. I'm Polly.
I'm Paddy.
Paddy. How are you guys? Thanks for attending this morning session. And this session is about how to integrate Streamtime with other tools, your favorite tools. So we know that Streamtime is not the only tool you're using, and that's cool.
It would be nice if it was, but we can only do so much.
That's it. Exactly right. But to be more efficient and be more productive in your work, you might need help with that of other tools as well. So we made it really easy for you to integrate Streamtime and those tools, and even use Zapier for that. Zapier acts like a middleman between different apps, and it connects those apps together. So this session is all about your integration with other tools and how can you make your work more efficient. Today we will look at Slack integration as your communications tool, calendar integration as well, accounting package, accounting software integrations too, Xero, MYOB, QuickBooks. We made it super easy for you to set this up without using Zapier and other tools that we might touch base on.
I think it'll be awesome to show everyone what we see lots of people doing in Streamtime already, and some zaps, they're called, through Zapier that we've already kind of created and set up, which are really easy to kind of set up for yourselves now that we've built them. But introducing you to Zapier and how that works will allow you to kind of explore then a bunch of other apps that we might not have even thought of based on the tools that you use, which is really cool because you can, we've given you the means to set up those different integrations, which is really nice. And even, mentioning that we've got an API now, a public API. Yeah. So if you do have your own custom tools that you use, even something else that might be a bit more specific, if you've got developer skills, you can take that API documentation and go and build your own integrations as well, which is cool. We've seen a couple of people using that, which is really awesome. And then, bringing it all up with Xero. Hopefully some of that's familiar to some of you already, but if it's not, then we'll get to go through it at the end. And as usual, thanks everyone for tuning in. It'd be great if you could introduce yourselves, say hello in the chat on the side. Hi. Looks like a couple of you already have. Hey, Toby. Hey, Antonia. Say hello. Let us know who you are, where you're working, what you do. How long you've been using Streamtime? I don't know. Do you use Streamtime, or are you just checking it out?
How do you integrate Streamtime with other apps?
What tools do you use? Let's hear it.
Maybe you can teach us something.
Let's absolutely.
And if you have any questions, feel free to just send them through in here. We will go through them as we go, and we will touch base on them at the end as well if we have time.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll save some time to come back to any questions. At the end.
Awesome. Hopefully this session will be useful for you. And let's start with Slack and Streamtime integration.
Or even before then, why don't we jump in and kind of run through the integrations area? And to do that, I'm just going to share my screen. Hold on 2 seconds. Okay, cool. So I've got Streamtime open here. And first thing that we need to know when we're talking about integrations is that we actually have a designated place where we can set up our integrations, where they all live. So I've just opened the menu there. I'm going to go to my profile and settings, and then right down the bottom, Integrations. We've got a nice little page for everything that's connected.
So we've got our accounting package, accounting softwares on the top that you don't need Zapier to integrate with. So
you can see here I've already done Xero.
Exactly. Xero, QuickBooks, and MYOB. If you needed to see how to integrate that, you can view the documentation from here as well. That shows you pretty much a step-by-step process of how to set things up pretty quickly. And there we see other tools that people tend to integrate, such as Slack for communication, Gmail, Calendar, Trello, Asana, Toggle,
HubSpot. HubSpot, I think that one is, lots of people tend to use that based around adding new contacts to Streamtime, which is really cool. If you do use HubSpot already, might be worth looking into. And then Office 365 and Jira as well. And right down the bottom, this is the API. So if you are interested in exploring its capabilities, just jump in here, have a read of that documentation, and you've got your key there that you can always find. Which is really cool.
Yeah, and if you have any questions about API, just send us a message after that.
Cool.
Awesome.
Great. But yeah, so let's jump into it.
Yes, let's focus on the Slack integration first. Slack, then we talk about calendar integration, and then we'll just chat about Xero, QuickBooks, and MYOB integration. Cool. So the Slack one is an interesting one. And, lots of clients have been asking for communication tool in Streamtime to actually be able to communicate to each other about job updates, what's going on within the job, and if there any changes has been made. We don't currently have this feature, but since you're already using Slack, if you are using Slack, we've made it super easy for you to set your integration up with Streamtime and Slack. So it really depends on how you like to use it. So you can either have Slack talking to Streamtime or Streamtime talking to Slack, really, whatever works for you.
That one goes both ways, doesn't it?
Exactly.
And it'd be great to hear if you guys here today do use Slack. It'd be awesome just to let us know in the channel. We use Slack here internally.
Slack is like my favorite tool.
Don't know what we'd do without Slack, actually.
Yeah.
Slack just seems to be a bit of a,
everything.
A dumb thing amongst creative teams today. So I'd be surprised if you guys aren't using Slack, especially for larger teams. And Tony, given that you're a single user, you might not need Slack as much. It's a communication and file sharing tool. So if you are working in a team, that's probably more likely where you're able to see Slack used. But we have actually got some examples of what a Slack integration looks like. And just here, I'm not sure if you can see, but I've got this channel, and it's actually just my Slack bot sending me these, but I can see I've got some job updates pushing through from Streamtime. So things like statuses and different information regarded to tasks and when different team members have been added to items. I'm able to see these here. So this is an example of Streamtime pushing job updates into Slack. Now, what else can we do with the Slack integration?
Say you've created a new job in Streamtime, and you wanted to communicate to your team. So you can have a job creation notification sent to your channel as a message. Say Patty has created a new job. So it sends out to a number of people who will be working on that job, for example.
Awesome.
And job completed is something,
no, I was just going to say, I might even jump through to Zapier and look at what it takes to kind of set one of these up. So already we can see we've got a list of some connections here, some zaps that have been set up. So the new job updates to a Slack channel is what we just saw. Creating Streamtime to-dos from a new starred Slack message. Yeah,
that's another way for you to stay on top of your important things to do. So if you got a message on Slack that it's important and you don't want to forget about it, and it's easy to kind of forget. There's so many messages in Slack happening sometimes. So you can start this message in Slack, and then this message will then be populated on your to-do as your personal to-do. So what you have to do then is to allocate that to-do to a job.
Cool. And we'll take a look at that shortly. What else have we got? New Streamtime job updates in a Slack direct message. Newly completed Streamtime jobs to a Slack channel.
This is a good one. I mean, we always celebrate success here in Streamtime. And when we have a win, everyone kind of get in as a team together, and we celebrate it as a team. So it's good to kind of set this up and, just communicate to your team about something has been completed on time. So let everyone know of what you've done. It's a good idea.
Post it to the channel. Get some
gifts.
Cool. And as you can see within Slack here, you're able to look at essentially how Zapier works is that you have triggers in one app and then you have actions in another app. So that's to say that we have these set triggers in Streamtime. So when something happens in Streamtime, it'll create an action in the other app. For example, when a quote gets approved, This triggers when a quote gets approved. You can then,
send a private message.
Send a direct message in Slack. So this is how that interaction between the two apps is working, and it's really, really quite simple. It's a trigger and an action. And again, this can happen on either side, as we've explained. So you can have actions within Slack triggers in Slack, creating actions within Streamtime. So jump in here and have a look around at, different apps that you might be able to create yourself with Slack, or really with any other tool, because Zapier integrates with a huge number of tools.
That's true.
If we just head to the apps area, we might be able to have a quick look at all the sort of things. And even here, it's saying that with Streamtime and Slack, you can create as many as 94 possible integrations. So
crazy. That's a lot.
It's a lot. So jump into Zapier and have a quick scroll through here. And if you notice that there are any apps that you're currently using, it'd certainly be worth exploring ways to integrate that with Streamtime.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you do have any questions, just always chat to us and we'll help you set things up as well. We want you to succeed using Streamtime, obviously, as your main tool, but there are other tools that can help you.
Absolutely. Now, the next integration that we're going to talk about is a personal favorite of mine. I actually use this all the time because it saves me having to, double check things or even think. And it's the integration between Gmail and Streamtime.
Gmail.
Sorry, not Gmail, Google Calendar. I said the wrong thing. And I just find it really handy because obviously here at Streamtime, we're chatting with clients all the time. We have so many meetings coming up and they automatically get created in our calendar when a client books in a meeting, which means that automatically they're pushing through to my to-do screen as work that needs to be done, which is super handy. I've got an example of how this looks here. So this is my calendar at the moment. I can see I've got our Streamtime webinar at the moment. Polly and I are going to grab lunch later.
I didn't know about that. Thanks for inviting, Patty. Where are we going to go?
Well,
I heard knowledge.
It's a secret. I've got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and then on Friday afternoon, I've got a call with Matt at the design conference.
So those events are populated on your calendar first, so you get
Yeah. So they're started as calendar events. They might happen weekly. They might just be one-off meetings. But what's important is that that's time in my day, and I need that to push through to Streamtime so that I'm blocking out the hours that I can actually be assigned work for. But another handy thing is that I can then actually assign these tasks now to jobs and track time against them. So it kind of has multiple uses, which is really nice. So first of all, lunch with Polly. As Polly mentioned before, when these tasks come through to your to-do screen, they come through as a personal task. Now what that means is that the time will be blocked out, but it doesn't mean it's going to be logged against a job. It's not going to get, included in any timesheet reporting, and that's fine. Lunch with Polly. This one, it's a personal task. Streamtime webinar, however, that's not a personal task. That's work that needs to be tracked. So I might even open this one up.
Maybe refresh.
Maybe a quick refresh there.
Lynn said that we should lost us for a bit. Lynn, do you still have problems or can you see us?
Yeah, hopefully there's been no comments since, so we're back in action.
Okay, we're back. All
cool.
right.
So this Streamtime webinar is a task that I want to track time against. So I'm going to untick this one as personal, and I don't think I have a job for my webinars in here, but I'm just going to create one. New job, webinars, and this one's an internal job, so Streamtime is the company. I can easily save and log that task because I know that this is the hour that I'm going to be doing that and tracking that time against the job. So in all of a couple of clicks there, I've had a task pushed through from my calendar because obviously that was something that was booked in with me, pushed through to my to-do screen, and then be tracked as time in Streamtime, which is super handy.
Yeah, exactly. So once you integrate your calendar and Streamtime, it's going to make your life so much easier to then plan your week, plan your days ahead, just looking at those items on the right-hand side, looking at what actually needs to be done for work. And your time will be then booked out for certain things coming from your calendar. So you know how much time you've got left for working on certain other things.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. And this way it means that you don't miss a thing, you know?
Exactly.
If something's in your calendar, it'll be in your to-do screen. It's going to be impossible to miss. Cool. So how about we jump on to the third part of today's webinar?
Sounds
Look
good.
at our last set of integrations around accounting software.
Yep, awesome. So we can integrate easily with Xero, QuickBooks, and MYOB. So you don't actually need Zapier for that.
Yeah.
If you head to your integrations page, you can then integrate with Xero. So go into integrations. What's going to happen is you connect to Xero, then you have to log into Xero, and you then return back to Streamtime, and everything is connected. So what happens then? You can start creating your items and expenses. It's part of essential setup of Streamtime. So items and expenses will need the right account revenue codes and expense codes, and all those codes will be taken from your accounting package that you have in Xero, QuickBooks, or MYOB. So it's important to, when you create those items and expenses, it's important to allocate the right codes to those. So this is essential process of your setup. So when it comes to invoicing, your invoices will be then sent to Xero, QuickBooks, or MYOB, and they will be stored and reconciled correctly.
And when we're talking about our Xero integration, you mentioned that we've got expenses and revenue. So there are two touch points really. So expenses, they're our costs that come through our business. Now we could track these as an expense or a purchase order. Both of them can actually be sent to Xero, and we can see they just live here. We've got an expense here. So I might see this expense, and you can see down the bottom that there's this button that says send to Xero, and I'm just going to need to add a supplier to this one to be able to send it to Xero. Let's just say, yep, that was Adobe. Selecting a contact. Awesome. Now copy to Xero. So
your expenses will look like bills in Xero?
Yeah.
And your purchase orders will look like?
Purchase orders.
Purchase orders. Cool. That was a test.
I passed. Absolutely. So expenses are more lightweight. If they're just a cost that you need to track, then that's fine. The purchase order might need to be sent to a supplier. And, you know, as we can see here, not here. When you're creating an expense, you're able to convert that one to a purchase order too. So really, they both mean the same thing, an expense and a purchase order. They're both doing the same thing in that they're accounting for a cost of the business. They just exist in different capacities, I suppose. Expenses are more lightweight. Purchase orders, you'll get a form that you can send to someone, which means that until it's sent, it might be considered a draft. So when you copy that draft purchase order to Xero, it's going to sit as a draft as well.
Yeah.
And that same rule applies to invoices, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yes. So when you have a draft invoice, you can send it straight to Xero, but it will look like a draft invoice. So it's totally up to you. So if you like to send an invoice straight from Streamtime and then send it to Xero, it will then look like an invoice awaiting payment. If some clients of ours actually like to download an invoice as a PDF and use the email to send those invoices along with other things that they send. So you can actually download this draft invoice as a PDF and mark it as sent in Streamtime. So it will then be able to send to Xero and have the right status against it.
Yeah, there are a couple of different ways of getting that one done. And this one, you know, we've already recorded the payment against it, which is great. And even at this point, we can still assign it or send it over to Xero. So we just need to select the right Xero account. And I think Test AU there is going to be the best one for now. I can send that one across easily. You'll see that we get this little stamp on the corner, which makes it really clear that yes, that invoice has been sent to Xero. You'll see that on purchase orders and expenses as well. And that's just a clickable link then that you can jump and see that invoice in Xero too. So it's super easy and nice. And then we can see that the invoice status is going to be sent to Xero. At this point, obviously that payment information, we recorded that in Streamtime, but if you're tracking that stuff in Xero, you can refresh it and pull it back into Streamtime at this point as well.
Yeah. So it's important to always refresh that little page, so you know when this invoice has been paid, because it doesn't do it automatically straight away, but it's important for you to go and refresh that.
Yeah. If you are working through a list of invoices,
Exactly.
then that's the best thing to do. Cool. Well,
so that's pretty much everything around integrating with your accounting packages, your calendar, your Slack as a communications tool. What are other tools that we think can benefit you and Streamtime?
other tools.
Trello?
Yeah.
Do you know if anyone has been integrating with Trello and Streamtime? I know a couple. What can you achieve by integrating Streamtime and Trello?
I've spoken to some people before that use Trello to manage their jobs. And I suppose you could set up an integration where creating a new job in Streamtime creates a new card in Trello.
Yeah, good
So
idea.
that one might be useful. I think Trello has some functionality that we don't quite have yet in Streamtime. Whilst we do have the priorities area, that's a board style way of managing your jobs. Some people have found that really useful, and that's been an option to replace Trello, but some who haven't still kind of work from Trello, and creating a new job as a card might be a way to achieve another integration there.
Office 365 as well, if you're using different email client for managing your work. So integrating with your calendar, Office 365, and Outlook. Inbox.
Gmail, start emails can pull through as personal tasks as well.
Yeah. So so you can start an email in your email in Gmail that will then populate on your to-do as a personal task. So it's the same story. You can then allocate it to the right job from Streamtime.
Yeah.
So try it out and let us know how you go. We're always happy to get some ideas from you, some feedback from you. So if you need any help, we're always happy to help as well with that setup.
Totally.
We've got some questions here, buddy.
We've got some questions, so let's focus back in. We might even. It looks like there's been a bit. Sorry, we haven't had our eyes on the chat this entire time. So let's just do a quick scroll through.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Okay, awesome.
Life help situation. Multitasking. What does failed network error mean? Trying to download an urgent quote. Okay, well, we might have to investigate that one with you, Susie. How do you integrate with your calendar? Is it automatic?
Well, as we just said, you can go into your integration page in Profile and Settings and go into Integrate with your calendar. Depends on what calendar you're using, and connect. You can read a document on how to integrate, as it's all been documented for you. But then you use Zapier to set things up. So it's not quite automatic, but setup is essential in there.
Like anything, but once you've got that integration set up, those calendar updates will feed through automatically. So I think every 5 minutes, Zapier fetches that information from your calendar. So it should more or less be up to date pretty much all the time.
Yeah. Elaine, she's got a question on Xero integration. When I create an invoice on Streamtime, it creates draft sales invoice in Xero, but it doesn't send the invoice created as attachment to Xero, so I have to download and upload to Xero.
Well, when you copy that invoice across to Xero, it creates that invoice in Xero, so it's not a PDF attachment, it's its own invoice. Perhaps there's some misunderstanding in the question there, or in what you're trying to do, but hopefully we've shown you kind of how that integration works since then. So if there are any more questions, then just let us know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, once you send it to Xero, you lose all the paid awaiting overdue stuff. Andy knows my beef with this. Okay. Well, we're going to have to speak to Andy about that, Scott. And
I think with that one, Scott, the idea is that once the invoice has been taken to Xero, it's understood that the information's been contained there, and there's only so much status information that Streamtime needs to know about it, or at least that might be relevant. But it might be based on when that sending to Xero process kind of sits in the workflow as well. But we can have a chat to Andy about that one too.
Yeah. Susie, Streamtime on app. Many jobs just don't show up on app list for us.
Sorted. Thanks. Easy. Great. And one final one there from Crystal. So does that mean it creates twice, like 2 invoices, one in Streamtime and one in Xero? So yeah, there'll be a copy of that invoice in Streamtime, and then there'll be a copy of that invoice in Xero. They'll have the same invoice number and information.
So it's not a double up of your work.
Yeah.
It just copies the same invoice into your accounting package. That's it.
Exactly. That invoice previously didn't exist in Xero, so all that copy is doing is making sure that that information is appearing in Xero,
Exactly.
just like it does in Streamtime. So
exactly. So if you do work with an accountant, an external accountant, he or she would know what's going on this month and what are the invoices are due to be paid this month. So the communication is there.
Exactly. That's well put.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Cool.
That's the first compliment. Okay, that's not the first compliment you gave me. Well, it's 25. It's been 25 minutes. We still have 5 minutes. If you guys want to ask more questions, we're here for you. But we hope this session was also useful.
Hopefully there was plenty in there, something new to take away. I feel like we covered a bit of ground, and hopefully we opened some doors in terms of the possibilities with linking Streamtime to some other apps.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any other further questions, just let us know. If you want to get in touch, the help button in Streamtime lets you reach out. But awesome. In that case, we'll leave you to it, and have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Have a good day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.